Welcome to my Inspirational Ingrid channel and welcome to my daily news bulletin. I've been away for a little while, but now I'm back again. But this is one of the videos that I did actually want to show a little while back, but I didn't actually feel it was the right time, but I think it's the right time now. So it's a bit of old news to you guys. It's called Sign of the Times, Gold Kings. Sign of the Times, Gold Kings. Now, before I actually carry on with my video, I'd like you to like, share and subscribe to my channel because this really helps me out. So like I said, it's a bit different to my weekly episodes that I normally do. This is a daily news bulletin. And so what I do is I normally look at the daily news. I watch to see what's going on and I relate this to Bible prophecy. So it's just not just a news bulletin. It's actually relating to Bible prophecy and last days, end of times. Hence why I call this now the sign of the times. A week before, I actually called it the last trump. The last trump. And the last trump, the reason why I called it the last trump, because it's actually continuing from that, is because President Trump's name actually means trumpet. Trumpet. And as you know, with Bible prophecy, it is the trumpets that will actually start to sound. The trumpets that will actually start to sound. Okay? So, I'm going to actually let you guys watch this video, which many of you have seen before. And if you think it's not real, this is actually what President Trump actually put on his own website. So let's just have a quick look at it again as a reminder.
To set you free, bringing the light for all to see. No more tunnels, no more fear. Trump Gaza is finally here. Trump Gaza shining bright, golden future, a brand new light. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump Gaza #1. Trump Gaza shining bright, golden future, a brand new light. Feast and dance, the deal is done. Trump Gaza #1.
Now, many of you have actually seen this clip. I mean, it's been everywhere. The first time I actually saw this, it was actually on Sky News. So I knew it had to be real. I knew it had to be true. But the first thing that came to mind when I actually saw this video and I actually saw the golden statue of President Trump was King Nebuchadnezzar in the Bible. King Nebuchadnezzar. So, in the Bible, okay, King Nebuchadnezzar, he appears in different books of the Bible. He appears in 2 Kings, 2 Chronicles, the book of Jeremiah, and also the book of Daniel. So, King Nebuchadnezzar, I can hardly say his name. It's a long one, isn't it? Trump is easier. King Nebuchadnezzar was known, okay, to attack Judah. He was also known to destroy the Temple of Jerusalem. And finally, he was actually known, to capture Babylonian captivity of the Jewish people. This is what King Nebuchadnezzar did. So it's very strange that President Trump agreed to this video. It's just very, very strange. Because if you know who King Nebuchadnezzar was and the events that happened in his life, it's very interesting. But bearing in mind, King Nebuchadnezzar did actually hear from God. King Nebuchadnezzar actually heard from God, yes. But King Nebuchadnezzar was very proud, very arrogant, very out there, very influential as well. He was actually a real born leader, naturally born leader, okay, as you were. So maybe that's the reason why President Trump wanted to associate himself with King Nebuchadnezzar, because that's exactly what he's doing here with this video. 2 golden statues, one of King Nebuchadnezzar and one of Trump. Very similar, very similar. So, like I said, King Nebuchadnezzar was known to attack Judah, okay? And he actually got King Joachim. He actually made King Joachim king in Judah. okay, and also made him his vassal. And a vassal is someone that you become loyal to. They give you lands and they give you position. So this is what happened to King Joachim. Okay, but King Joachim actually did rebel against King Nebuchadnezzar in the story, as it were. You know, he actually rebelled against him because he didn't like what he was doing. King Nebuchadnezzar, again, as I said, he ransacks the temple of Jerusalem, okay, ransacks it, takes all the treasures, loots it, and all the things that King Solomon had in that temple. This is what King Nebuchadnezzar did, okay? King Nebuchadnezzar in the Babylonian captivity, he exiled 10,000 Jewish officers, artisans, and skilled workers in Babylon. This is what King Nebuchadnezzar did. King Nebuchadnezzar became really mad. Became mad because there was a prophecy that was made. He had a dream, and if you remember Daniel, the prophet, he actually explained what King Nebuchadnezzar's dream was, okay? And King Nebuchadnezzar actually had 7 years of madness. 7 years of this is what God did to him. So if President Trump is thinking he's becoming like King Nebuchadnezzar, he better watch out. Because King Nebuchadnezzar had 7 years of madness. 7 years, right? 7 years. So let's just read Daniel 3 verses 1 to 7. Because as you know, I do Bible prophecy and it's all scripture related, okay? So it's actually titled, Nebuchadnezzar commands everyone to worship a gold statue, okay? King Nebuchadnezzar had a gold statue made. It was 27 meters high and nearly 3 meters wide. And it was set up in the plain of Dura in the province of Babylon. Then the king gave orders for all his officials to come together. The princes, the governors, the lieutenants, the commissioners, treasurers, judges, magistrates, and all the officials of the province. I can't even say it's the province. They were to attend the dedication of the statue which King Nebuchadnezzar, had set up. When all these officials gathered for the dedication and stood in front of the statue, a herald was announced in a loud voice. People of all nations and races and languages, you are to hear the sound of the trumpets, followed by the playing of the oboes, the lyres, the cithers and harps. And then all the other instruments will join in. As soon as the music starts, you are to bow down and worship the gold statue that King Nebuchadnezzar has set up. Anyone who does not bow down and worship will immediately be thrown into a blazing furnace. And so, as soon as they heard the sound of the instruments, the people of all nations, races and languages bowed down and worshipped the gold statue, which King Nebuchadnezzar had set up. This is the first part of it. This is what happened when King Nebuchadnezzar set this up. Anyone who didn't bow down to it was immediately thrown into a blazing furnace. Okay, this is how powerful King Nebuchadnezzar was and his rule. So like I said, if Trump wanted to be going down these lines, it's very dangerous lines. Because end time prophecy also says that there will be a beast, an image at the end of times. And people are supposed to worship the beast. This is an end time prophecy. This is what is written in the last days to happen. People will worship the beast. People of all nations, all tongues, all races will have to bow down and worship the beast. So with President Trump actually doing this and agreeing to this AI image, actually begs the question. Because many people who don't actually read the Bible probably just saw this as a laugh and probably didn't realise, you know, the prophetic meaning of what this meant, this video, this AI video, what it meant. I mean, to the people of Gaza, I don't know what that meant. The people around the world, I don't know what that meant. But Christians, believers, people who know Bible prophecy should have actually known what this meant. And if they didn't, they need to wake up. They need to wake up. Because things like this can be portrayed in front of our very eyes, but sometimes we can be blind to it. But this goes on to prove whether people or not really know their Bibles. People or not really know Bible prophecy. Because if it didn't mean anything to anyone, then I want to know why it didn't mean anything. People were amazed. People were shocked, you know. And people had the people laughed, found it funny, you know. But like I said, Bible prophecy is there, and you only have to look and to read into it. Read between the lines. Read between the lines. You know, who does he want to portray himself as, really? Because Trump also has dollar bills that will have his image on it. He also has coins that will have his image on it. He also has cryptocurrency that will have his image on it. So President Trump will have his image portrayed everywhere. Everywhere. So if there is a golden statue, that is something that we need to be aware of. If there are miniature statues, like you see little statues of Buddhas, that is something that we need to be aware of. You know. But this isn't all that great, so to speak. But it could be great. Because like I said, even King Nebuchadnezzar heard from God. Even though King Nebuchadnezzar did some foolish things and was a little bit arrogant and was a little bit proud, okay, God still spoke to him and warned him to turn himself around, warned him to come low and stop being proud and arrogant, okay? So I'm going to read a little bit of what happened to King Nebuchadnezzar, okay? And this is actually in Daniel 4, okay? So Daniel is now explaining in Daniel 4, and this is from verses 24, and I'll read verses 24 to verses 33. But I will actually carry on, actually. I'll go a little bit further, okay, to verses 34. So I'll read 20, let's have a look what I'll read from. Yeah, so I'll read 24 to 35, I think I'll read. So this is Daniel 4, okay? So Daniel is now explaining to the king Nebuchadnezzar what's going to happen to him, okay? So it says, this is what it means, your majesty. And this is what the supreme God has declared will happen to you. You'll be driven away from human society and will live with wild animals. For 7 years, you will eat grass like an ox and sleep in the open air where the dew will fall on you. Then you will admit that the supreme God controls all human kingdoms and that he can give them to anyone he chooses. The angel ordered the stump to be left in the ground. This means that you will become king again. And when you acknowledge that God rules the whole world, so then, your majesty, follow my advice. Stop sinning. Do what is right and be merciful to the poor. Then you will continue to be prosperous. All this did happen to King Nebuchadnezzar. Only 12 months later, while he was walking about on the roof of his royal palace in Babylon, he said, look how great Babylon is. I built it as my capital city to display my power and might, my glory and majesty. Before the words came out of his mouth, a voice from heaven King Nebuchadnezzar, listen to what I say. Your royal power is now taken away from you. You'll be driven away from human society, live with wild animals and eat grass like an ox for 7 years. Then you will acknowledge that the supreme God has power over human kingdoms and that he can give them to anyone he chooses. The words came true. Immediately, Nebuchadnezzar was driven out of human society and ate grass like an ox. The dew fell on his body, and his hair grew as long as eagle's feathers, and his nails as long as birds' claws. Verse 34, Nebuchadnezzar praises God. When the 7 years had passed, said the king, I looked up at the sky and my sanity returned. I praised the supreme God and gave honor and glory to the one who lives forever. He will rule forever and his kingdom will last for all time. And finally, in 35 it says, he looks on the people of the earth as nothing. Angels in heaven and people on earth are under his control. No one can oppose his will or question what he does. Verse 36 and 37 says, when my sanity returns, my honor, my majesty, and the glory of my kingdom were given back to me. My officials and my noblemen welcomed me, and I was given back my royal power with even greater honor than before. And now I, Nebuchadnezzar, praise, honor, and glorify the King of heaven. Everything he does is right and just, and he can humble anyone who acts proudly. Okay? So you see that now. God can humble anyone that acts proudly, that dishonors him in his sight. This is what the Lord can do. So for me to see this video of Trump with this golden statue and all these other little statues, and all these other things going on in this video that you saw for yourselves, with Elon Musk throwing up money in the air and all kind of things, it was very, very strange, I have to say. But President Trump cannot act too proudly. If God has spoken to him, he needs to lower himself and become humble. He mustn't become proud and arrogant just because he's been put into that position. Like I said, God always places kings and leaders in position for a reason. He puts them in position for a reason. So let's look at the verses between King Nebuchadnezzar and President Trump. Nebuchadnezzar is known as the greatest king of the Chaldean dynasty of Babylonia. Does President Trump want to become the greatest president of all times? King Nebuchadnezzar conquered Syria and Palestine. You've already heard how President Trump wants to conquer Gaza. And what other countries does he want to conquer? King Nebuchadnezzar is described as God's instrument against wrongdoers in the books of Jeremiah and Ezekiel. Is President Trump being used as God's instrument for wrongdoers? Is he being used? And finally, King Nebuchadnezzar, he antagonized many, many Israelites. Is President Trump also going to antagonize the Israelite nation? Because if he does, this will actually turn tables. This will become Bible prophecy. And if it is Bible prophecy, then you believers out there knows what happens next. So like I said, my daily news bulletins are coming on fast and furious as the news comes in. This one may have taken a long time, as I didn't actually announce it when it actually came out. But some words and some news are never too late. You just have to look at it and look again and again and again. So this is Ingrid, Inspirational Ingrid, with a daily news bulletin. Like I said, look at it, look again, and make of it what you will. Until next time, see you all soon again. Bye.